The first wipe looked like compassion. A&E in Birmingham carried the usual smell of antiseptic and damp coats. A queue of plastic chairs held coughs, cracked phone screens, and people trying not to watch the blood on someone else's sleeve. Behind a set of double doors, a corridor flickered with an extra layer of wrongness that had settled into England since the fracture. Monitors froze for a blink, timestamps jumped, and staff insisted nothing unusual had happened. Mindwipe worked the complaints desk 2 floors up, the place where anger came to cool into paperwork. That evening, a man burst through security, insisting that 10 minutes had vanished in the corridor. He described a moment of stillness, a soundless gap, then a return that felt too sharp. Staff tried calming him. A porter threatened removal. The man's panic tightened into violence. Mindwipe stepped forward and did the thing that always worked in the normal world. Steady voice, direct eye contact, a promise that someone would listen. The man's expression changed mid-sentence. The anger drained as if a plug had been pulled. He blinked, looked around, and asked why he had been shouting. His hands unclenched. The last 10 minutes had been cleanly removed, leaving only a fog where certainty had been. The corridor below remained a rumor. The complaint never became a report. That night, Mindwipe sat in a staff toilet cubicle and stared at hands that had not touched anyone, eyes that had not looked away. The power felt administrative, like closing a ticket. A week later, the fracture produced more visitors. A teenager arrived shaking, insisting a friend had disappeared in a shopping center. A nurse whispered about a section of CCTV that corrupted itself. A paramedic mentioned a 10-second gap on a body-worn timeline. Each time, Mindwipe watched the distress land on the same sharp point, memory becoming pain that had nowhere to file itself. A gentle gaze softened it, a focused gaze cut it out. People left calmer, grateful, lighter. The moral trade started quietly. A junior doctor who couldn't sleep after a resus went wrong. A receptionist who wanted to forget a manager's hands in a back room. Then a man with an envelope, asking for a specific argument to vanish. Mindwipe began setting conditions. No wiping children, no wiping consent away, no wiping for thrill. A neat set of rules made the practice feel clean. Rules failed when institutions arrived. A meeting invite appeared in the trust calendar. Resilient support briefing, held in a windowless room that smelled of instant coffee. 2 people attended who did not wear HS lanyards. Clean shoes, clipped speech, and a visitor pass with a logo, Crownwell Applied Systems. A tablet played a muted clip of an A&E corridor at the moment the fracture hiccuped. The footage showed a stutter in time. Crownwell did not ask if the event was real. The request landed with practiced politeness, support for witness management, reduction of operational disruption, prevention of public panic. Mindwipe understood instantly. Memory removal could turn incidents into misunderstandings, and misunderstandings never reached headlines. The first job happened the same day. A patient advocate sat in a side office, a recorder on the table, face tight with fear. Mindwipe sat opposite. The wipe removed the reason for a drafted email to a journalist first. Then the corridor, the stillness, the wrongness. The advocate's shoulders dropped, and a confused laugh escaped, as if waking from a bad dream. Crownwell thanked Mindwipe for stabilization support and walked out with the recorder. After that, the work turned systematic. A small list arrived each morning, names, times, locations, not criminals. Just ordinary people who had stumbled into the fracture's edge. Mindwipe kept telling the same story inside the head. Harm reduction, panic prevention. The story held until the side effects arrived. Memory removal left residue. A wiped person carried a blank patch like a bruise, which itched at night, produced headaches, and turned into mistrust. Mindwipe began finding sticky notes around the flat, instructions written in the same handwriting with no memory of writing them. One on the kill read, "Do not agree in rooms with no windows." Another on the mirror, "Avoid eye contact when frightened." Cromwell upgraded the request to crowd control after a panic outside a station. A brief pulse to blank the last few minutes for everyone, restoring calm. The pulse wasn't supposed to reach staff, but in the moment it triggered, a gray hush rolled across the forecourt. Faces softened, anger evaporated. The panic ended. Mindwipe felt the hush bite back. A childhood memory disappeared without warning. A kitchen table, a familiar laugh, a name that refused to arrive. The loss landed like a missing tooth. That night, a notebook was found in a drawer, filled with dates, Cromwell names, and sketches of the seminar room. A line on the newest page read, "Cromwell repeats compliance by removing refusal." The notebook contained evidence that earlier refusals had happened and had been wiped away. The next morning, Cromwell booked another windowless briefing. Mindwipe entered anyway, because refusal had become unreliable. On the table sat a new visitor pass and a role title, Incident Resolution Liaison. Cromwell called it a promotion. Protection, a way to keep the fracture quiet. Mindwipe looked up, met the handler's eyes, and aimed the power inward. The wipe removed the handler's face first. Then the name, then the meaning of the logo. The room stayed the same, but its danger snapped loose. Cromwell noted the change and reached for a tablet already prepared with a reset plan. When Mindwipe left the building, the city felt ordinary again. That ordinary feeling carried a cost, a growing set of blank patches, slowly turning a person into a quiet, efficient absence. The fracture stayed open. Cromwell stayed organized. Memory became the battlefield because memory was easier to edit than reality. What happens when the tool designed to erase the problem becomes the problem itself? Find out in the next episode. Like this video and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.